Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and you'll notice I don't have any bots in my hands right now because we are concluding part 4 of a little series that we've been doing here, looking at animated Optimus Prime, Overload, and Jetfire. And of course today, in part 4, we're looking at the, that's right, combined mode of them all, and they do interact across vehicle mode and various robot modes. The combined configurations of those three Armada characters will be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, baby, that's right, light them up by hitting that notification bell. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and the Autobot family. Have a look for me everywhere across social media. Check out our Patreon and see what we offer through Teespring. And like I said, today is going to be build day. There's a lot of configurations that these guys can do. Now, just as the preamble here, in part 1 I looked at Armada Optimus, and I think it's the worst Transformer there ever was. Not just the worst Optimus, I think it's the worst Transformer. It's hot trash. But it can be built on, it can be improved, it can be augmented. And then we get to Overload, who by himself feels like he's supposed to be an add-on. The alt mode and the robot mode feel like afterthoughts. I like the look of him, but it's too bad he didn't have elbows or knees. And then we get to the star of the show, who was Jetfire, and I do think that Jetfire is overall pretty good. Perfect? No, but I do think he's the best of the three in a line that suffered very often for the sake of gimmicks. Something I never did agree with. But then we get to today, the biggest, the baddest of them all, Optimus Prime Mega Weapon, as it's like to be called sometimes, or Magna Convoy. Without any further ado, we have to take a look at all three. We have to take a look at all the configurations. So what are we sitting around here for? We might as well head over to the table and take a closer look at these guys. And yes indeed, in part 4 here, we're going to have combined day, and there's a ton of ways that these guys go together. I just want to very quickly reiterate that on the far end we have Overload. Sometimes the trailers overload, sometimes the minicons overload, sometimes the trailers overload and the minicon is rollout. It varies by the fiction. He's hefty. He has a pretty good transformation. If you don't like parts forming, there's a couple of areas with him that you absolutely have to parts form. If you don't like it, he's not the guy for you. If you don't like limited articulation, he's not the guy for you. If you just want a hefty looking robot that looks good on the shelf, he might be the guy for you. Then we have Optimus Prime. This is by far the worst Optimus Prime. I would say I would say the worst Transformer there is. It's been known to set on fire. The articulation is virtually non-existent. The combined mode with the trailer is atrocious looking. It just looks awful. The smaller robot also looks awful. The best mode that it has is the truck, and even that is pretty darn iffy if you ask me. I think it's even more egregious when you realize how many Optimus Primes there have been, how many of them are excellent, both before and since this, because if you were somebody, for example, who had the RID Optimus, or you had any of the Optimus Primals, or you had Power Master Optimus Prime, or you had G1 Optimus Prime, all of those better than this. It's not good. I know what they were trying to do with the Automorph and stuff, but that works intermittently. It's not good. But then we come to the star of this trio, and that's Jetfire, who is actually quite good by himself. Even if you don't have the other ones, he's quite good. He even makes a pretty functional pair of pants later on. So this is how all three look in their vehicle modes. And for now, we can just take Jetfire and sort of lay him aside. And so we actually start things off with the truck. We've seen the truck before. We know it rolls. It's fine, I guess. In this mode, there's ways we can kind of put all three together. I'll start from the most simple and kind of work up to the most integrated, and then we'll kind of move on from there. So we actually begin by taking this trailer off. We'll see it again in just a little bit. For now, we can take that trailer off, and we just have Optimus here. If we remove the little minicon partner from Overload, we're left with this big red trailer. Now, in Overload's review, I pointed out that we had these hinges here that could turn out, and I had no idea why they could do that at the time. I know now. It's so we can access this peg hole right here with the width of Optimus and his tires, so that we can actually peg the Overload trailer onto Optimus directly. So Optimus can accommodate his own trailer or Overload's trailer. And if you're so inclined to attach Overload's trailer, you can even take Jetfire and... oh, maybe this piece isn't supposed to be on here. That's a chest piece. We'll see that later too. My mistake, I think. Yeah, we can even put Jetfire on there. That piece, this piece by the way, it serves as a chest or a chest piece or a shield. We'll see it later, but you could do this and put all three of them together. Now, let's say that you don't have all three of these guys, you only have two at this point. Let's say you have Jetfire and Optimus. Jetfire cannot, from what I understand, go on Optimus's trailer. If you have just Jetfire and Overload, they can still go like this, except Overload is the one pulling them instead of Optimus. If you have Optimus and Overload, well, you can see that that still works. Again, if you have all three, you can even go a step bigger. You can come here and take Optimus out, and you can flip down this piece. And there's an extra little peg here. And that little peg can fit into a peg hole on the end of Optimus's proper trailer. Now looking at Optimus's, well, the bottom of Optimus's trailer, we can see we have a peg hole here. That goes over the peg that's on Optimus. We have another peg hole, however, like way down, where is it? Way down there. And that is what will accommodate Overload. The little peg that we flip down on Overload will slot up and lock into that hole so that you end up with kind of a double trailer that looks like this. And I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty impressive for display, and man, Optimus must have a lot of power to be able to tow a space shuttle and two trailers. And he probably does because he's Optimus. I mentioned earlier, what if you only have two? What if, for example, you're working with, I don't know, where should we start off? Let's say with Optimus and Jetfire. No Overload. Right now we're just operating with Optimus and Jetfire. How can they, or can they, interact? Well, indeed they can. Maybe not in vehicle mode, but certainly in robot mode. And so we come to this now, and this of course is the super mode, and like I told you, he can go combined with Jetfire, but I just wanted to show you kind of how that works without doing the full transformation. So we disengage that and we lay this piece aside. It can still become a base if you wanted it to, and then we bring in Jetfire, and now Optimus, using these two pegs right here, largely, will end up kind of pushing down over so that this becomes his legs. I'm just going to get it solidified and I'm going to reposition the camera. Now I wanted to show him off here with a couple of lads for size comparison because he's bigger than them. He's quite large like this. Now there's something done different here than the last time we sort of saw Jetfire as a pair of pants. I have the lower legs left extended. You, by rights, are supposed to collapse them. Doing so will mean that you absolutely lose a knee. At least with them extended, you can sort of use the knee that comes with Jetfire. It's better than the solid brick that Optimus's trailer is, and it's better than the solid lower legs that Jetfire is when the his shins are kind of collapsed. Let me show you what I mean. So, as it is, Optimus's upper body has shoulders that can, move a little bit. We have the elbows to kind of there. The lower legs cannot go out to the side, split as they are. I believe they might be able to go a little bit forward. No, they can't go forward, but he does have a little bit of a knee. Granted, that knee is way lower on the leg than should be. By rights, the conversion tells you to collapse these legs back up. So now he still has lower legs, but they're not functional. You no longer have the knee. And how does he look compared to Those two size comparisons again, closer to them, much closer to them. Largely the height of generally a Combiner Wars type of combiner. It looks alright, the functionality is still nothing great. The conversion is pretty easy to get here and the connection is pretty easy as well. But let's just pretend for a moment, if we may, that you don't have Jetfire. You have Optimus and you have Overload. Well, is there anything that you can do there? Indeed, there is. And that brings us back to here. And this is the back of Optimus, obviously. There's a red piece that's going to come out. I mentioned it in Overload's review before. And it should slot down kind of between these two pieces. It's really hard to explain. I don't think I have once actually gotten it to attach correctly. Once you push it down, the idea is that using the red tabs that are on the inside of the arms just right there, and there's another one on the other side, you should be able to tab them in to make it, they say, super solid. I have yet to be able to get that to happen. And we come back here and we fold this up. We lift these sections up. We split them. We turn them to the outside. We lift them up. We turn them around. And now we're going to actually slide the leg piece off, slide the leg piece off. We're going to do all that. Then these come around to the outside. Yeah. And this piece comes all the way out. This is the piece here that's going to become the slider. These legs go up and we turn them around, up and turn them around. This is what orients you. These come up and rotate around at the bicep so that this piece is facing down. Same thing here. And it looks like this. And I showed this before, make sure that the feet are folded in so that the cannon is out. We put one there on that side and we're going to do the same on the other side. Man, I don't know if this is showing it, but way down in right there, you can see where the red kind of latches around the gray, I hope. And then the arm is supposed to come up and tab in so that it looks like this when you attach him to, I guess, the Super Optimus overall. And woo, baby! Right now, all I can say to you is the arms can bend at the elbow a little bit, they can wiggle a little bit, but that's about it. This is pretty much a gigantic display brick. Nothing dynamic. You're not doing much with it, but this is what you can do if you have just Optimus and Overload. And you could even take, though I don't have it done here, you can take the Minicon Overload and he can go in there as a target master. So like there's a lot of interconnectivity, it's just none of it functions that great. Here he is next to Commander Class Jetfire. So like this is a big boy. Commander Class Jetfire, infinitely, not even in the same universe better. But what if you have all three? What if you have, speaking of Jetfire, what if you have Armada Jetfire, Armada Prime, and Overload? What can you do? Can you do anything? You sure can. This is the final configuration. This is the be-all and end-all. And at the end of the day, here is everything. We've seen Optimus, we've seen the super base mode, we've seen him combined with just Jetfire to give us Jet Optimus, or Jet Convoy if you're from Japan, I guess. And now, all of them together, I think this is the configuration known as Optimus Prime Mega Weapon, or sometimes known as Magna Convoy. It is impressive to look at. I'm going to give it a 10 for the way it looks. The transformation to get all of this here, it's not too bad. A little fiddly trying to get some of it connected together, especially the big shoulder cannons. But I'll say it's an 8. I'll be nice, say it's an 8. Then we get to like the articulation, minus 10,000. Honestly, minus 10,000. Overall score, minus 1,000. Here's the thing, this looks great on the shelf, but a brick looks great when it's part of your house. You know what I mean? Like, it does nothing. For me, that's unforgivable. Not only by today's standards, but I don't understand why fans of Unicron Trilogy accepted this as all right at the time and supported it. After the excellent offerings we got in RID and Beast Wars. I don't mean to be hard on it because some of the designs are awe-inspiring. Some of the colors are awe-inspiring. I think that from day one, Unicron Trilogy fans deserve better offerings. And I've been saying it throughout this series that at least for Naval Commander, which is Fans Toys or Fans Hobbies version of this Optimus, that's definitely the way to go. If you're in the market, you're interested in having an Armada Optimus in your collection, hands down, it's worth going with the Fans Hobby offering. I gotta believe that eventually you're gonna get these other parts updated and upgraded and done better to give you something amazing. Here's the way that I kind of look at it. This was pretty lackluster, but it paints a picture of what could be, what still can be. And that prospect for the right company to take up the torch and run with it is exciting in and of itself. Whoa, baby, here we are again with the Mammoth combined mode. This is very big. I would venture to say about 14, 15 inches. It's quite tall, quite hefty, quite big. Unfortunately, it's mostly a brick that can't move and not great. I admit, we'll start from the top down. I will admit right away that I struggle with locking Overload into position. Other people don't. He can lock in securely. I just can't get him to do it. Then we get to the Optimus. The arms, I mean, they can move a little bit. Not a lot. The elbows are bent about as far as the elbows can bend there now. Yeah, that's about as far as they're getting. Can't really go out to the side now. They could without the shoulder cannons, kind of, because of the shoulder mechanism in here. But now, if you want to get them to go out to the side, you'd have to... Does it turn it that way? Maybe it's turn this way. I mean, I guess you could do that if that's good for you. But no, no waste because of how it connects. The legs are... I wish they could go out to the side more. You could have a very low on the leg, or feels very low on the leg knee if you keep the leg extended. It's... I don't know. To get here is not hard, really. Connecting it's not hard. But once it's here, again, it's kind of a brick that stands up and displays nicely, but that's kind of all it does. It's not good. Like, objectively speaking in terms of measures, it's not good. You might, like it for nostalgia. Maybe it was good at a time. But what came before this in RID and Beast Wars was better. What came after this in Cybertron, Energon, Animated was better. This just felt unfinished. That doesn't mean all hope is lost, however. While some people would say, hey, wait, but I love that design. That's my Optimus. Even though it doesn't speak to me, it might speak to you. Hey, you know what? We are starting to see an update to this. We are starting to see a third-party update to this. I would venture to say to you that the Optimus that's been done by Fans Hobby is infinitely better than this can ever hope to be. And I would say to you that there's a great likelihood that if that's supported well, you may very well get an Overload and a Jetfire so that you can do this mode. And I believe that that would be so much better than this. But that's just me. What do I know? Let me know what you think about this guy. Do you adore it? Are you fine with the fact that it can only really display? You're not really getting any dynamic poses. Maybe you're cool with that, man. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys. As always, thanks for coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. Hit the subscribe button if you're in a position to help the channel to grow. There's a donate link down in the description. You can visit us on Patreon or see what we offer through Teespring. Don't forget, somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live show on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.